Okay, so I've started recording, and I guess I can pause it when we go into executive session.
Okay.
Do you see anybody in the waiting room? Is there?
No.
Okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
And I think that's you, Asha, on the phone. I think that's Asha.
We need to determine. I just
Yeah.
sent a request.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes,
great.
we can hear you.
Okay, she's
Okay.
now on unmute. Just stay on unmute.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, I'm going to wait another minute. Oh, okay. I'll let Frank in.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, I think we are all here. So I am going to call the quarterly meeting of the July 11th quarterly meeting of the Potomac Yard Homeowners Association to order.
Leah, sorry,
Um,
did we put the record button?
I did, yes.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to verify that we have a quorum. So Maria,
Here?
Lewis, Lou, Asha,
Here.
Frank,
Here.
and I am here, so all 5 board members are present. All right, so we're going to go first into executive session for the purposes of considering delinquencies, collections, waivers, complaints, and a contract bid. Could I get a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so we'll move now into executive session. Margot, does Carol normally come with us into the executive session, or how does that work?
She does, but she
Okay.
doesn't take any minutes for that. But I would go ahead and just move her in there.
Okay, you've got
It's
that.
up to
Are you
you.
doing it, Margot?
Huh?
Are you doing that?
I haven't done that before. Maria's
Oh, wait.
already done it.
Maria, are you the one who's doing it?
But
Yes.
okay, Maria's got it.
All right, I'm going to pause the recording now. Okay, I'm resuming the recording. We're just coming out of executive session. We're waiting for some of our colleagues who are still in the executive session to come out. All right. Okay, so we are, it is now 7:10. We're reconvening the open session of our July 11th PYHOA board meeting. We met in executive session to consider a waiver request, some complaints, a draft of a code of conduct submitted to us by our attorneys, and some proposals for a snow removal bid. So the first thing on the agenda is the waiver request for account PHMAIB-2304-03. Could I get a motion on that?
So moved.
So I will entertain a motion to dismiss the late fees. So moved, Maria.
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All right. Okay, I'll call the roll. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The motion passes 5-0. Okay, next on the agenda, 2 complaints from account PHPOTA 182201 were submitted to the board. I am going to need to look at the complaints. So on complaint number 1, seeking proof that the annual meeting at which Potomac Yard Homeowners Association purportedly expanded the size of its board of directors from 3 to 5 was a meeting convened with a proper quorum. The complaint also seeks objective proof that our bylaws were lawfully amended as required through a majority vote of the entirety of its voting members on such a voting on such a proposal. I will entertain a motion to dismiss this complaint on the grounds that it is a request for information, not a complaint. It is it's an inappropriate use of the complaints process. And it also fails to allege that the activities of the association and its management agent are inconsistent with applicable laws and regulations.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Frank is recusing himself on this one. How do we
Wasn't
vote?
my complaint though, just to be clear.
You're named in the complaint, Frank, as a beneficiary of
So
it.
you're named the complaint too,
Um,
Clea.
Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The motion passes with 4 in favor, 1 recusal. The second complaint, complaint number 2, the attached complaint requests that the association provide the owner with legal citations to a provision or provisions within any act enacted by the Commonwealth of Virginia's legislature or an exact provision or provisions within the declaration governing the Potomac Yard Homeowners Association upon which the board has relied for each of the expenses or budget items itemized in Exhibit A. The complainant alleges that the board has acted ultra vires, that is, without authority, and thus illegally collected assessments and then paid expenses unlawfully incurred by the HOA that it was not obligated to pay. I would entertain a motion to dismiss this complaint on the same grounds. It's an inappropriate use of the complaint process to attempt to obtain information, and the complainant fails to prove that the activities of the association and its management agent are inconsistent with applicable laws and regulations. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. How do we vote? Asha,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So for the same reason, the motion carries 4-0 with 1 recusal, 1 abstention. Okay, we decided in executive session that we would hold off on a snow removal contract approval pending a receipt of additional information so that we can compare costs. But we are hoping that we will have a contract approval within the next few weeks. So now it's time to move on to review and approval of the minutes. We have 3.
Leah,
Yeah.
Excuse me, you forgot the code of conduct.
Oh, goodness. You're right. All right. We considered a code of conduct submitted, drafted for us by the association's attorneys for both board members and community members. I would entertain a motion to approve the code of conduct as submitted with the following amendments. Amendment on page 14, Article 2, subsection A, number 7, adding the word director into the sentence. No individual may interfere with the association managing agent, director, contractors, vendors, or professionals providing services to the association in the performance of duties. And then also amending Article 6, enforcement and sanctions, number 1, to add the sentence, if the association's vice president is not able to accept responsibility, the allegation shall be presented by the association secretary. So can I get a motion to approve the code of conduct?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, how do we vote?
Can we discuss
Yeah.
this?
We already
Okay,
did.
go ahead and discuss it, Frank.
It's a terrible idea to give the community manager a blank check for $1,000. Too much of HOA assessments have been used on condo property, on her personal ink, on late fees, and
Be
everything
careful
else.
what you're alleging here, okay? Just want to say that out loud.
I'm not. You've used HOA assessments for condo properties, and get your own lawyer, Margot. Don't use HOA funds for it if you want to get your own lawyer. You have clearly done
Frank,
it.
you know what? Though, this is an exactly a perfect example of
No,
the
no,
kind of
no. Your
conversation that we are
your loyalty
hoping
should be with the
will not
HOA,
occur once
not with
we
the
have a code
HOA
of
industry
conduct.
swamp, Clea. That's your problem. You don't hold the HOA community manager accountable.
Please mute him because we already discussed this in executive session and this is not the place for this. And allow time for the people on the phone who was not in the executive session to have an opportunity to express themselves. Thank you.
Yes. Are there any other board members who want to discuss this before we vote? Okay, hearing none, let's move to a vote. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Frank?
No.
And I vote yes. The motion passes 4-1. Okay, now on to review of the minutes. We have minutes from the May 18th, June 15th, and June 29th Board of Directors meetings. Can we just entertain a motion to approve all of the minutes for those 3 meetings?
I think we should go one by one.
So moved.
Anyone else want to break anything out? All right, can I get a second?
Well, second. We can discuss it now. I mean, if there's a.
Yeah, we can discuss it. Okay, open for discussion.
It should go one by one. The first meeting, there was email traffic on that, saying there could be liability for the HOA. So that should be voted on separately. And I wasn't at the last meeting, so that should be voted on separately. So I really think this should be.
Okay, we can break them out, but Frank, the May 18th minutes have been changed.
I still think it should be voted on separately.
Okay. And later in this meeting, we are, for the benefit of everybody here, we are actually going to vote on a proposal to append recordings of the open session of our meetings to the minutes so that members of the community can see our meetings and get details for themselves that way on exactly what happened in the meetings. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the May 18th minutes.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, they approved 4-1, 4 yes, 1 abstention. Can I get a motion to approve the June 15th minutes?
So moved.
And one of those was a second.
I'll
Second.
put the second.
Okay.
Is that
Um,
Maria and Lou?
I think it was Asha and Lou.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that passes 5-1. Can I get a motion to approve the June 29th minutes?
So moved.
Second. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Frank?
Abstain.
Okay, they're approved with 4 yeses and 1 abstention. Okay, now we're moving to open forum for those who are on the call. Yeah, so I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes and raise your hand if you can. And those of you who are on the phone, I'll give you an opportunity to speak as well. Patrick Doherty, you were the first to raise your hand.
Hi, based on, I just want to say 2 things. I fully support a code of conduct. I think it's great that the board is moving in that direction. The way some of these meetings get super contentious, I think is, not great for the community. I think obviously we can all share our views, but it should be done in a way that's respectful to others and volunteers in the community who help in the community. So I fully support that. Thank you to the board for doing that. And I fully support appending the minutes with recordings of the meetings. I think transparency on all this stuff helps and lets people kind of, participate even passively and understand, what's going on. And I just wanted to voice my support for both of those things. Thank you to the board for your volunteer service. And thank you for, supporting our community and moving things in this direction.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, any other folks on the call would like to make a comment? Either raise your hand if you're on the phone and you want to make a comment, just unmute yourself and let us know.
Clay, this is John Futrell. Just wanted to support what Patrick just offered. Just want to thank you for your service, and I think a code of ethics and conduct serves everyone the best. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Maria, was there something you wanted to say?
I was just saying if we give them a minute, I know the mute button somehow is not working as well.
Yes, someone else wants to speak, I know, on the phone.
Okay, well, go ahead. Is there anybody else on the phone who would like to speak? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I think it's *2.
Somebody wants to speak.
Okay, Frank, well, we're waiting.
Someone on the phone saying they're mute.
Press *2.
If it is the person on the phone who's trying to unmute, can they press *2 and see if that works?
I don't know if he could hear you. That's the problem. I'm assuming he could hear you, but yeah.
Frank, do you know which caller it is? It's in the participant.
Well, I'm not seeing any numbers, Maria. So it's I could tell you the person texting me. I could give you. I'm not going to give the full number, but it's.
Well, I can put in a request to unmute for the 3 callers that are just have numbers next to them.
Yeah, it's a 703-405. I'm not going to give you the whole number, but
I don't see those whole numbers. So
I don't. Yeah, that's all
Here,
I'm getting.
okay, I'm just gonna. Can we just unmute all of them? And here, all right, folks, I've unmuted you if you're a caller. So go ahead and speak. Oop. I don't know. Actually, it's not working.
It says they
I'm
can't.
unmuted now.
Okay, good.
There you go. Okay, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, well, Nicholas Panos, I disagree with Patrick and John's sentiments. I've written a number of letters. I've written 2 complaints. I have a lot more information than they have. And I appreciate you deliberating over my complaint. I will reframe it to make specific accusations. I will also submit informational requests. But I need to tell you that there's a lot more that I have available to me. One of my colleagues, former colleagues, actually sued on the exact grounds that I have referenced in my letters. PIA knows this, the association's attorney, and it's under the Virginia Code. And she specifically won on grounds of the unauthorized use of funds. So I have all of her paperwork. She gave me everything, the legal complaints, the appeal, all the legal citations, the case. So my purpose in speaking is really to establish a record that I think the board is being grossly negligent. It's ignoring an obvious outcome that is going to be very costly to all the members when you have to start paying out claims. So I am going to sue. It's just a matter of when. I put in the complaint that was going to sue as of a date certain. That still may happen. I just want the insurance company to get all my information first and make a decision so they don't protect you, because I want you to have personal liability for what you're doing. Frank and I are very confident we will win in Virginia court. We have the blueprint now to make a cost-free claim. All I have to do is adapt the complaint to our facts. So I needed you to be aware of that, because if you continue to proceed and spend our money on condo property, then you are willfully doing so in the wake of a Virginia appellate court decision that P&Os exist. So that means that you cannot rely on counsel that your actions are lawful anymore. That's it.
Mr. Panos, can I just ask you a question? How are you so sure that it's what is condo property and what is not condo property? We've been asking you and Frank to provide us with that proof for months now, and you haven't, which is why we've hired lawyers and title searchers at great expense to the HOA to answer those questions. So I'm a little mystified as to how it is that, you know, if you have this information beyond the shadow of a doubt, I mean, please do us a favor and provide it to us.
Oh, I've been down to the city. I've met with all types of city representatives. I have all the information I need about ownership and what constitutes a common area. So the association has to own the property. That's right in the Virginia Code and our declaration specifically. I know that. So the HOA, our HOA, the master HOA, as some have alluded, has to be the owner of the property.
Yes, but it's not clear who is the owner of the property. That's the problem.
Oh.
So anyway.
So you're saying that for all the condo owners on the phone that I can just come and park in your driveway?
He's past his 2 minutes. There are other people on the call. Thank you.
Right?
Okay.
Are you saying that's a common area? I mean, Clea, come on, be realistic. Well, Sue, and you can make that argument that the HOA owns the condominium property. You're welcome to do that as a defense. You will lose and waste more of the association money, which, by the way, I think you're diverting from capital reserves, because the legal budget was much smaller than the amount that you have paid Clea, the amount you pay PIA. And I believe that you're doing these cost overruns in years in succession, and that further exposes the HOA to liability for me and other owners once they figure out what's happening. We haven't budgeted for over $100,000 in legal fees from last year or this year if we start to sue.
Okay, thank you.
It's a serious matter.
Your time is
It's a
up.
serious matter.
Asha, did you have something that you wanted to weigh in on?
No, I was just saying,
Okay.
yeah, it's 4 minutes he spent talking, and we have other calls
Correct.
on the line. Thank you.
Anybody else on the line on the meeting want to make a comment? Okay. I'm going to assume that everybody who wants to make a comment has done so. So let's move on to old business. Margot, do you want to address prepaid accounts?
Sure. Just a quick synopsis. During our previous audit for 2022, we discovered there's some dormant accounts that were left over from when the HOA and the condos had 2 separate assessment accounts. So there was some funds sitting in there. So we have reached out to all of those owners via email. There were 3 that we had to send letters to with a letter letting them know how much money they had in this prepaid account and requesting they get back to us by the 17th of this month to let us know whether or not they would like us to credit that to their condo accounts. These are just condo owners that were primarily affected, or send a check. So all of that has been in process. We've had a number of people reach back out, say, yes, we'd like a credit. I've had 2 people actually request a check at this point. But then as of the deadline, we're going to go ahead and just move over or send those credits over to the condo accounts to clean all of those up. Once that's completed, we'll be back discussing the achievement for the state of Virginia, since some of this is unclaimed money from folks that don't live in the neighborhood anymore. So that's all running its course right now. And so the next time we get together, I should be able to give you an update on that.
Great, thank you.
Any questions about that so far? Okay.
Okay, great. So now we can move on to new business. First order of business is the insurance renewal for 2023-2024. We received 2 bids, one from our current set of carriers under Farmers, which is an increase. It's about $14,020. And that covers commercial, workers' comp, crimes, D&O, and umbrella insurance. That's an increase of about $3,000 from last year. We did also receive a second bid for about $17,000. So just one couple things to note. Margot and I got on the phone with FSR, the person at FSR who handles the insurance bidding. She notes that the insurance market overall is just really tough this year. Umbrella rates have been going up for everyone, which explains the most of the increase. We did also have a bunch of D&O insurers decline to bid on us because of the ongoing legal threats against the HOA, which is causing our insurance to go up. Thank you. Anyway, so did anybody on the board, obviously it looks like renewing with Farmers at a cost of $14,000 is the most cost effective. Although Margot did, we do have a deductible of $2,500. And Margot did raise the question of whether if we raise the deductible to $5,000, whether we could get a better rate. So does anybody on the board have any thoughts or questions about that?
About what, the deductible or other things?
Yes, both. Like, should we wait?
Yeah, well, we should consider.
See what would happen if we raise the deductible. How do we feel about increasing the deductible to $5,000 from $2,500?
Yeah, I think we should see what the option is. It does no harm in that. We have 2.5 weeks to get this done. The other question is, are we insuring condo land? Because if we are, 11.01 in the declaration, in particular, the second to last sentence, dictates who pays for that if we are insuring any part of condo land.
So, as you know, we are in the process of determining exactly where is condo and where is master association. And obviously that process won't be finished by the time our insurance expires at the beginning of August. However, the FSR insurance expert said that that's absolutely no problem. You just go in and what was the term that she used, Margot?
Was it endorsement?
Yeah, you just do an endorsement and you
basically
change
an amendment to the
reflect,
locations. Yeah.
Reflect the new situation. Asha, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm a bit wary. Actually, I'm quite wary of this. We're paying for condos. Please note for everyone on the call that condos do contribute to the HOA. as well as their own separate funds. So the HOA is not paying for the condos, but the condos are paying into the HOA, like everyone else on this call and everybody in this community, and we all benefiting from this service. So in the meantime, like Clay said, we've had this this threat of litigation, which you heard on the which you just heard on the call. So we have the attorneys reviewing the documentation to decide what to do and how to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha. Any other thoughts or comments?
Cleo, so I'm just really concerned because it's July, what is today?
It's July 11th and yes, so we don't have very much time.
Yeah, I just don't want us to be in a time crunch. Is there a way, so are we set on going with Farmers, or is there another insurance carrier that we're considering?
No, the other carrier that we got a bid from came in like at 17,000. So even if even if we went back to them and asked them if we went to a bigger deductible, it still wouldn't make up the difference what we're getting from Farmers at a better at a better price.
Okay, so that said, sorry, not to cut you off, Clea. I just I know we're time. But that said, so is there a way we could make a motion so that we approve the renewal with Farmers? And if we all agree on, if the rate is lower with the higher deductible, that we select that. If it's not lower, then we go with the proposed amount. That way we're approving the insurance renewal. I just don't want us to run a situation where we can't have a meeting.
Yeah, we do have a meeting scheduled on July 26th, which is, I mean, it is cutting it pretty close. So, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't do that, Margot.
No, I think that's a great idea. I mean, if the $5,000 deductible comes in, it probably will reduce the premium. So, you can approve it at the higher rate, and then just with the exception that if the rate is lower with a $5,000 deductible, that we'll take the lower of the two. I don't see any reason why not. And then that would eliminate having to have another special meeting to call a vote that won't be unanimous.
And Margot, can you just confirm there's been no change in the coverage? It's the same that we had?
Yes, it's identical to what you had last year. There's just slight changes in the premium, and most of the changes came from the D&O section and the umbrella section.
Okay, thanks, Margot.
Great. Okay, so could if anybody else want to weigh in? Lou, did you have any thoughts or?
At this point, I'm fine. I mean, I just want to see an apples to apples comparison between the two carriers at a $2,500 and a $5,000 deductible, because I feel sometimes like we're mixing and matching, and it sounds pretty good, but it's very simple. And I believe Margot's already been asked to get that information. So when I see the apples to apples comparison, I think it'll be a very straightforward.
Yeah, but Lou, we did have a very detailed bid that Margot sent out to everybody comparing the current deductible rate with Farmers and this other company that I can't remember now what it's called. So the person from FSR who does the insurance bidding did not think that the other company was going to be competitive at a $5,000 deductible.
And the other thing they said, Lou, is that, you see sometimes when you're looking through option 1 and option 2 where the rates might be different. And that's because their programs include a blanket amount, right? There's not a whole bunch of options. Just to take for an example, in that spreadsheet that I sent out today, there were a couple of differences in demolition and increased cost of construction, where one option only covered up to a certain amount, where the other option covered more. And there's no option to change those. That's part of their package. That's part of their program, and that's included in the umbrella rate, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does, but this particular case, if you send something out today, I may not have seen it.
Oh, Unfortunately, yes, we've been trying to get it in advance and, I have to get those packets out to you guys. I will have to,
Not-
but I try to
not-
get them out.
Not a
Yeah.
criticism. I'm basically saying I don't want to be asked to vote on something where I haven't seen a clear apples to apples, side by side comparison that makes the decision much easier and much easier to defend later on. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Okay,
Okay, so how would folks like to proceed?
so Clea, you said the next meeting is in July,
It's
July,
July 26th, yeah,
and that's a special meeting, right?
yeah.
I think we could go with Maria's proposal, assuming her proposal was if 5K lowers costs, we're conditionally approving that. I think we could just, because doesn't sound like any, bifurcation is going to get remedied here in the next, 2 weeks. So if what Maria's saying, the 5K is lower, we conditionally approve that and go from there.
If we could get the wording so that effectively we take advantage of tonight's forum and it basically answers the question based on the new information when it comes out, I'm okay with that as well.
Okay. Maria, do you want to make a motion?
So Lou, I just want to make sure you're fine voting right now. Do you want to wait till the July meeting to get the additional information?
No, I'm listening to what's being said, Maria, and if we can put that little clause in the motion that basically says if that $5,000 deductible kind of changes things significantly such that it changes the competitive nature of the bid, yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't want to hold things up. I just don't want to fly blind.
Okay, how about this? A motion to approve the proposal to renew the insurance from farmers, with farmers, on the condition that
It remains the lowest bidder when compared to an equivalent $5,000 deductible.
Can I make a suggestion here?
yeah, because I don't know.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the bid for insurance from farmers, to renew our insurance with farmers. Provided that we get a pricing from farmers on going to a $5,000 deductible, and we accept that $5,000 deductible if it is a lower price.
And
I'll second that. Oh, sorry.
sorry, and that the $5,000 proposal remains competitive with the other carrier.
And that it's lower than the price offered by the other carrier.
Yep.
Do we got that?
Carol-
Does somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. How do we vote? Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So the motion passes 5-0.
Clea, I just want to make sure that Carol got that clearly. Carol, if you wouldn't mind just unmuting and letting us know. Margaret, is Carol still on? Or
She is.
But she's been having some audio trouble.
okay,
But
all right.
she has the recording, and we can also correct the minutes if there's a problem.
Right.
All right, sounds good.
I mean, Margot, you understand what it is that we want, right?
Yeah.
The lowest price.
The lowest price
Yeah.
with the same options.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Next thing is tot lot ground cover. the inspector has recommended that we add wood fill to both tot lots. We received bids from 3 different companies for engineered wood. It looks like one of the 3 companies came in way lower than everybody else at $4,500. We also reached out to some companies for bids for rubber tot lot fill, and am I right? This is $111,000.
It's really expensive. But the long and short of it is it lasts longer. You don't have to do it as often. But at some point,
Even so, I mean,
it's mostly
4,500
used.
versus 111, like
Yeah.
it would take quite a few decades for that
I
to
can say
like.
most of the people that actually get that type of fill are like schools where they're heavily used throughout the day, that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't think that our tot lots are used quite as often, although I would like to start looking at that fill situation on a yearly basis instead of waiting until it gets, or we see those little concrete footers coming to the surface.
Okay. So I mean, it seems to me that the lower bid, that we should just take the lowest bid, but anybody have any, want to discuss this or have any thoughts?
I agree with the lowest bid because the delta is just too dramatic. And unless there is some hard data to show that this lasts for, enough time to justify the cost, we can't justify it.
There's still maintenance involved in synthetic turf, and there's also maintenance involved with the rubber. The rubber requires a sealant. I think he told me like every 5 years. The turf requires some additional. It's either sand fill or rubber pellet fill. So that always, over a period of time, if you've ever been to a kid's soccer game or field, and you can see how it kind of dissipates. You still have to fill it every now and again and rake it back out. So there's still maintenance involved with those 2 options as well. I do have one clarification because all recreation did do some other work for us, and the proposal in your packet included the swings. I had him break that out and just went to him to get clarification on just the engineered wood, and that cost is $4,469.50, so slightly lower than what
okay.
I kind of configured on that with the freight tax and all that.
Okay. Okay, so if we're all in agreement, then does somebody want to make a motion to accept the bid for wood chips from All Recreation of Virginia?
Sorry, Clea, before Margaret,
Yeah.
can you confirm that the labor? I know it says materials and installation, but
Yeah,
he's
that's
including
included.
the labor with that.
Yes.
Okay, it's like twice the price.
Like, yeah, half the price of complete, but I guess complete doesn't really do a lot of tot lots or something.
Their proposal, they had that is listed as an option in their initial contract, but when I checked with him, he was just quoting actual wood chips, and they weren't the engineered wood. And most of the playground inspectors kind of recommend you go with engineered wood. It doesn't break down as quickly as just the regular wood chips.
And Margaret, this company, the AR All Recreation, this is what they do.
Yes, this is all they do.
Okay.
They're the ones that repaired the steering wheel on the tot lot at East Glendale, and also the swings where we had to replace the wheel bearings. They also did that. With both of those things have been completed. And I think there was a question about warranty, and I did check on that. They have a 60-day for small repairs, but some of the major parts and components, the manufacturer has up to a 15-year on those parts. So they're pretty well. I mean, they all get the parts pretty much from the same places.
Okay, so this is a experienced company with a lower price.
Yes.
Sure.
Margot, just a footnote, and maybe put this as a note for yourself, and to the board as well. I mean, I have no reason to doubt Complete Landscaping in terms of their core skill set, which is landscaping. But when I look at the tot lot ground cover and I look at the snow removal, I'm wondering just kind of, are they really in those businesses? Are they trying to get into those businesses? Or is landscaping, quite frankly, also a bit higher than it should be, and it's nothing we can do about now, but just a red flag has gone up for me with regard to complete landscaping because they are not competitive in those other two areas.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they bid those things out, but we don't know for sure whether or not they're using third-party vendors.
Good point. That's a very good point because they'll tack on a little bit of margin for themselves and life goes on. But yeah,
Right.
and again, I'm not pretending to know those details right now. I don't think anyone on the call does, but it's just I have a little, I don't call it doubt, call it concern, call it question as we go forward about some of this costing.
So Lou, if I might at this point, I think when we all evaluated the landscaping companies, Complete Landscaping, they came across as very heavy experience in the traditional landscaping services. The snow removal and this tot lot repair, I think you're right. It might be something that's secondary to what they do, and they might offer it as a in order to keep their current customers. But um, I do think when we evaluated the landscaping companies, we did factor in, we looked at the cost and the experience, and they're the ones where we decided that might be best fitted at this time.
Okay, so Maria, let me just put you at ease, and I know you're not defending, but you're making a good point. I am not at this time questioning Complete Landscaping in the area of landscaping. I'm just saying that I think as they have ventured out into other areas, if that's what they've done, it just has sent up a red flag, and so I'm not questioning the landscaping portion of what they do. I'm merely saying that it just gives me a little bit of uneasiness with regard to kind of other areas. And I can't help but think, when it comes to replacement cost or other things that are not included in the contract, we may need to be a little bit more diligent.
Okay, thank you, Lou, for that. All right, shall we vote on the tot lot ground cover? Does somebody want to make a motion?
Making a motion to approve the proposal from All Recreation of Virginia. The proposal is for $4,539.
Well, with the correction is $4,469.50.
$69.50. Okay.
That's
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. I will now call the roll. Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Next item of new business is, as we previously discussed, the question has arisen whether we should add recording links to our meetings to the meeting minutes in the HOA portal. It was just thought best that we just formally adopt that as a policy. So does anybody want to discuss this before we make a motion and vote?
We should do it. City council's been doing it for years now. So, I mean, we're behind the times. We should start doing it.
And Clea, just to be clear, it's going to be in the portal that's only accessible to the homeowners of this HOA.
Correct. We'll add a link to these recordings to the minutes file in the portal only. And they have a passcode and everything. So you have to sign in with a passcode.
Questions?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying I don't have any other questions.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or thoughts, or does somebody want to make a motion to adopt the policy of adding the meeting recording link to meeting minutes in the portal.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. How do we vote? Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes,
Frank,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Next thing is that we've started doing pest management treatments. Many folks in the community have noted the terrible shape of some of the trees in Conway Park, which have been infested with pests. And so as a result of that, the landscaping contractor thinks we need an additional treatment in August, which will increase the cost of the plan by $720. Anyone want to discuss this?
Yeah, so are you moving forward with HOA assessments on condo property now? Because you're saying the HOA owns the condo land. Is that my understanding?
That's not what I said, Frank.
So why are you using HOA assessments for condo property then?
I mean, I don't know, are you suggesting that Conway Park is condo property?
No, you're using this pest assessment on shrubs on condo-owned land.
Well,
Condo
as
is
we've
not paid into
established,
the
Frank,
HOA?
we actually are doing research to discover, we're spending a lot of money to ascertain exactly where all the lot lines are. And as many of my fellow board members and people in the community here have said, the condo, it doesn't matter where you live in the community, everybody is paying equally into the fund. Asha, did you want to address this?
No, okay, so Frank, and I'm not even gonna entertain anything past a few seconds on this, but are you proposing that condos stop paying into the HOA?
I'm proposing we stop charging condos for HOA landscaping except for Conway Park and whatever the true HOA common areas are.
Condo owners are not being charged. We signed contracts we agreed to pay into. So I'm a
Okay.
condo member. I agreed to pay into the HOA for this benefit. So you're
HOA,
proposing that we exit ourselves from the HOA, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the HOA declaration does not authorize HOA assessments to be used on condo owned land or upkeep. We cannot this is not something we could use HOA assessments for. Condos have
So
to
did
do
you
their
submit your
own landscaping.
documentation to show us that?
What's that?
You
I'm
have
not,
the, you have
I'm
the
not
proof?
discussing any wasting my time in any legal matters with you.
Okay, then, so this is a mute conversation then. I
I'm
don't
saying
expect to hear you
you're
say anything else.
illegally using HOA funds here and you know it. You've heard from 2 lawyers in writing on this. You've heard
No,
it.
I haven't.
Okay. Then,
No, I
and they're
haven't.
hiding information from you. What can I tell you?
No, anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we,
Clear. So, just to be
go ahead,
clear,
Maria.
you're talking about Conway Park.
I mean, I think the reason why we need
Part?
more, the main reason why we need more treatments is because of how terrible things are in Conway Park, but Margot, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's various different places that they're seeing that there hasn't been an IPM program in the community, and therefore we have some multiple. I included a couple of the reports so you could see some of the pests that they're noting. And those trees really need to be monitored every month. We really don't want to lose those beautiful, there's 16 of them, those red maples. They need to be monitored every month to make sure that they're being treated as much as possible, and that's part of this program.
So
yeah.
is this for HOA common areas or condos and townhomes? What is this proposal for then?
This proposal is for all of the areas currently serviced by our landscaping contract.
Yes.
And if you don't like it, then don't vote for it. All right. Does somebody want to make a motion on this?
Sorry, Clea, I thought I misunderstood this. I thought this was for Conway Park.
Well, it's not
Not
only
just
for Conway Park, it's for the pest management treatment program throughout the community.
Yes.
But the main reason why we need more is because of how terrible things are in Conway Park.
Okay, so the $720 per year will cover the whole community?
Yes.
It's just $720 for the additional treatment in August. The board already approved this program earlier this year. And then all we needed to do, it did not include another treatment in August, but since they've been out there working in the community. They're seeing a lot more. And that's why they're suggesting that we add one more for $720 total.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve an additional August pest management treatment?
So move.
Great. Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay. How do we vote? Maria?
Sorry, my mute button there. Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Frank?
No.
And I vote yes. The motion passes 4-1. Okay, last thing on new business, and actually, Margot, I don't think I saw this in here, but you did send this around in email. So at our one of our last meetings, we had discussed that we were given legal advice to hire somebody to take minutes at our special meetings. Margot sent around a pricing sheet from a few different places. The pricing was I think it was there's only 2 places that were available. Both of them charged $150 for the first hour. One of them charged $35 for every half hour after that, or no, for the first half hour after that. And the other one, I think, was charging just $150 an hour. So if you go over 1 hour, that's another 150.
Yeah.
Cleo, sorry to interrupt you. The agenda that I have does not have this.
Yeah, I'm adding this on because
So we
it was
want to make a
released.
motion or do something formally that we're amending the agenda, just so we have it on record.
Okay. Could somebody make a motion to add a discussion of hiring a minute taker for our special meetings to the agenda?
So moved.
Great. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
I'm abstaining on this one.
Okay, Lou abstains. How about you, Frank?
I'm sorry, what is the vote? To put this on the agenda or to?
Yes, the vote is only to put it on the agenda. It's not to actually hire somebody.
I'll abstain.
Okay, 2 abstentions, 3 yeses. Anyway, so does anybody how does the board feel about hiring one of these companies?
We should do it the right way if this is what we want to do and talk about it during the budget season. We didn't put it in this year's budget. We knew we were going to have 10 meetings. Maria proposed a meeting every month when we're not having the quarterly meeting. So we knew we were having these meetings. So my opinion is if you want to do this, take it to the board and do it the right way. Put it in the budget. We are not budgeted, for this at this year. This is an added expense, but we knew we were having these meetings. There's no surprise here.
Okay, thank you. Other thoughts?
Cleo, I just want to be sure, what is it that we're voting on?
So I think we would want a motion to hire one of the firms that Margot has gotten bids for to provide minutes at our special meetings.
And what precipitated this?
Yeah, so a community member did not like the minutes that were taken by a board member and threatened to sue over them. Therefore, then our attorneys advised us that we should have an outside note taker to avoid that kind of conflict.
That doesn't make too much sense because the board doesn't have to approve the minutes. They could vote not to approve the minutes and make an iteration. So that justification isn't really, it's kind of feeble, to be candid with you.
Asha?
Margot, do you have can you share the screen with the bids so that we can look at it? And I guess this gives the community a chance to see it as well.
I can't, I have to enter WebEx outside of my Citrix, with this where all my information is, so I can't share that information on the screen.
Got you.
It's pretty simple though. I
Okay,
mean,
thank you.
Minute Solutions is a company that's the open rate of $150 per hour and $35 per half hour. And Minute Services was a flat rate of $150 per hour. So, I mean, Minute Solutions, the better option of the two. The current Minute Taker doesn't have those meetings available, so that was not that option was off the table for your special meetings.
Mm-hmm.
She is confirmed for the remainder of 2023 for your quarterly and annual meeting.
Got it.
So the better option of the two, if you were to go for an optional one to take those special meetings, would be Minute Solutions. And like I said, it's a straight up $150, $35 per half hour. They would try to assign a minute taker to work with this community. There may be a couple, in case there's a backup needed,
Mm-hmm.
but they work primarily the same way. That would be the rate for a virtual meeting, where they, would be in attendance similar to what we've been doing.
Okay, so that's clear to me. So the first one is a flat rate, a reduced rate per hour. The other one is a flat rate all throughout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really only the two. The current minute taker does things a little bit differently. She does $220 for 2 hours. Since your special meetings are generally a lot shorter, it might be a good option to just go with a flat $150. But again, she's not available. So for those dates.
Okay. So Clay, to answer your question, with that information, that's good for me. I know why we're doing this. Thank you, Maria, for asking that question. I will go with the first option with the flat rate with reduced rate per hour. Thank you.
Minute Solutions is the name of the firm.
Yes.
So I understand the rationale now, Clea. I'm just concerned if we have to have a short meeting for 10 minutes to vote on something because we can't get to unanimous decision via email, that we will then be charged $150 for a 10-minute call.
Yeah, that would be the case if you had them involved in every single one of your meetings. I think that most of your special meetings have been running at least an hour to an hour and a half. So rarely do we see a 10-minute call. But it obviously it's in those cases you would have, if you could cancel in advance, I believe with a little bit of notice. Let me just look at their notes real quick. Cancellation within 2 hours of the meeting start time would be full rate. Cancellation within 2 business of the meeting time would be $90. So if you knew, obviously we always know well in advance, at least 3 days, because we're providing notice to the community of what that agenda looks like. You could cancel at that point and one of you could take the minutes and save $150.
But this isn't about it sounds like legal is advising us to get this minute taker given what has.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's a meeting where we're just convening for the purpose of a vote, I don't know.
That's pretty easy. I can do that in 5 minutes. So
this alleged issues really over open forum, so there would still be open forum at those meetings.
Yes, there has to be.
I mean, if we could have Margot do the minutes, if it's like a 10-minute meeting, and then just, do it for a, our scheduled monthly special meetings. Would that work?
Yeah, like I said, we can cancel them if we get a little bit of notice to them. Their turnaround time for the minutes is 5 to 10 business days, so similar to what you've had before, 10 business days. Meetings over 4 hours are subject to different pricing. And terms are 30-day net, so it's pretty similar.
Okay, so does anybody feel like they want to make a motion to accept that flat rate, or?
Is the flat rate for an hour? I apologize. I didn't see this before, so I'm just going.
I mean, we don't. Yeah.
I had to send that out separately too.
It was in an email.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's $150 per hour regardless, right? So if it's 10 minutes, it's $150. That first hour is going to cost $150. If you feel that at 3 days in advance, we're putting the agenda together and we know it's only going to be 30 minutes in and out, that's pretty simple. We can have a discussion amongst the board and decide whether or not we want to cancel the minute taker for that particular meeting and do something different.
Okay, and this has to be voted on tonight?
I mean, we don't have to vote on it tonight.
Yeah.
If we, we do have another special meeting coming up on the 26th, although I assume that the public part of that is going to be very short. So we could add this to the agenda for that meeting.
Okay, and by then I'll have reviewed the proposal.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, please email me and I'll resend it out to you.
Okay.
Great. Great. Okay. Well, I think that this concludes our new business. So now we're just on to the management report section of the meeting.
Okay. The financial analysis and financial report ending May 31st, 2023 is attached in your packet. The biggest, well, the association at that point in time, has an operating excess of $124,841. As you know, there's been a couple of things that have created this. We had a snow removal line item for $60,000 that obviously we didn't use any funds for. We had an irrigation line item that when the board selected new contractors for the year, significantly reduced rates as to what we had budgeted for when we put the budget together last year. So irrigation went down by $17,800. Grounds and maintenance went down by $41,000. Janitorial went down by a little over $6,000. So there's various different things that have played in, but mostly because of all the different selections of different contractors this year and new contracts. So that's all good news. The HOA annual calendar is included in here, along with the action list that I keep updating as to what's still pending and what needs further action. I put in a couple of things about common area updates, so we'll go through those. One other thing I want to add when I get to the end that I didn't add to the report. Pulte has been working on bond release, as everyone knows, and the city of Alexandria has been the driving factor as to what trees and shrubs need to be replaced. They're getting through the process as quickly as they can. I think they've gotten quite a few of them done, although we did hear from their release manager that they're pending the city to do one more inspection. And according from Nathan M., who actually sent an email today, he's not doing that final inspection until September because he wants to ensure that the plants and trees that have been planted by the contractor are thriving, not just planted. So that's good news. The landscape committee has brought a couple of things to our attention as they've been completing their annual walks, and we've been communicating that information to the city of Alexandria as well as the bond release manager for Pulte. Community pruning, the first community pruning has been completed. It was a significantly larger project than I think the contractor imagined. We are actually meeting with them on Friday to discuss pruning. It's a big bone of contention with a lot of residents and how we can look at pruning from a community standpoint. I'm sorry, what? I'll continue. Anyhow, we're meeting with them Friday to discuss pruning for the community as a whole. The first monthly IPM treatment was completed for the bushes and the shrubs, and that was included in your packet. And the disease the red maples, they're starting to respond. We won't really know. We're just going to keep treating them. Irrigation has been up and running for all areas. We had a lot of rain over the course of the last 10 days, which has significantly helped as well. Playground inspections have been completed. As I had mentioned earlier, the replacement parts that were needed have been installed. We'll get this mulch engineered wood ordered as quickly as possible, and hopefully, usually it's about a 2-week turnaround time for that. General maintenance was last performed. Talking about the landscape contractor, as you know, they did it they do it every 7 to 10 days. And that's of course weather dependent. One other thing that we do not have any updates for you on, which I was hoping to have, was TMP. As we know, they're going to be changing that program and have told us they were going to be rolling that out in June and July, but I have sent multiple emails and left messages and I'm not getting a response. The only response I received was, we have a lot of, I guess, groundwork to complete from a city standpoint before we start talking to individual TMPs about the changes. So we have invoiced all the TMP committee owners for the first half of this year, and I am waiting on their response so I know at what rate and what we're doing for the following year. So until I get that information, I can't move forward with anything. So I'm hoping, I'm just going to keep on them once a week until I get someone to respond. Any other questions about any of the other common area maintenance going on?
I have three if I could ask them. They'll be quick. Virginia Water, do we know what the HOA refund will be for that?
No, that's on each individual account, and those refunds are coming out on the bills themselves. They're not going to be sent a check. They're just going to be deducting that refund from the actual bill and those are supposed to be completed by the end of this month.
But do we know in round dollars? Is it
And
200,
it didn't seem
2,000?
significant. No, it was like a couple $100. I don't think it's going to be that significant. Once all the bills have come in for the month, I can reach back out to them and probably get a pretty easy report on that.
Okay. And then the covenants committee, I get no email traffic. I may not be paying attention about any covenants committee meetings. They don't come to these meetings and make any updates. Are they not meeting? What's the latest with the covenants committee?
They are meeting electronically. There have been very few applications, honestly. So whatever that has come in, they've been able to review electronically. There has not been anything that's been disapproved. It's all, I think there was one patio in the backyard, and there was a security camera, but it's not been anything significant, and they've approved everything. And it's all been on, I haven't had all the condo applications are going to the condos first, right? So past that, then they send it to me and then it would go to covenants. They don't usually meet in person unless it's something they can't decide on unanimously, and they've been working together for a while. So most often they'd come with a unanimous approval decision.
All right, thanks. And then last question, how many active HOA members do we have? I guess said another way, how many dealing condo closings have there been?
They have about 40 closings the last time I checked. So they are been talking about adding those folks into the HOA database and how that's going to play out. But at this point, they're just collecting the capital contributions, if you will, at settlement. So they're not, they have not charged them in advance for all 138. We're just going to get those as they close each month. They're anticipating being able to sell the rest of those out by the end of the year. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
And the capital contributions are actually on this May financial report. If you look through it, there is a line item on the income statement that is reflecting that. So in May there was $4,000, and in June you'll see more, and that's where it'll be reflected as we go forward.
Margot, and this might be a question for your accounting group.
Okay.
What's going on with those AR master fee and then the allowance for doubtful accounts? They are account number 11045 and 11900.
And so what page are you looking at, Maria?
It is on the balance sheet.
Second.
This allowance for doubtful accounts is 78,000. There's no
Allowance for what accounts?
allowance for doubtful accounts. This is account number 11900.
Yeah, those accounting questions are difficult for me to answer on the fly like this because I'm not the one that posts them, right? So I have to go back to the accountant to request additional information. Doubt accounts, yeah. Yeah, I think I have an email where they address that. I can forward that to the board tomorrow. Let me look and see if it sufficiently answered the question. If not, let me go back to the source and see if I can get more. But a master fee, assessments, I thought this was how they collected the master fees, and my understanding was is they were setting up an accounts for each one, and they were transferring those funds on a monthly basis. So regardless if the condo owner pays or doesn't pay, they're collecting that from the association, and then it's the condos association's job to go collect it further should there be a delinquency. So I don't know how.
So right, Margaret, the change from prior year to current month, I mean, prior month to
Right.
the AR master fee changed there, but this
Yeah.
allowance for doubtful accounts, it's the same for both months, and I'm wondering what the amount is.
Okay, let me just get some more clarification on that, and I'll send it out to the entire board tomorrow or within the next couple of days as soon as I can get accounting to answer that specific question.
Okay, thank you.
Was there anything else on the income or comparative balance sheets or anything else that anybody had any questions about?
Are we going to talk about the cash balances? I noticed that the CD rates that we have are very low compared to what's available right now. We have one CD that looks like it matured on June.
Yeah, we had an action taken by the board. I believe I talked to Asha and to Clea about that change. And that one I believe was dealt with, but I'd have to go back into the record to tell you exactly which one we went with. So it was cashed in, and then it was reinvested with a different CD.
Yeah, we rolled it into whatever was offering the highest rates at the time.
Right, but I don't remember off the top of my head which one that was, and that would probably be reflected on the next balance sheet on the next set of financials, but I can find out. I think I probably have it in the email.
Okay.
Do you want to look at existing money market rates?
Well, this was a CD, and I know that CD, some of the rates are 5.5%. So there's nothing on that there's no option like that on the list that you've received. So the certificates of deposit for FSR's options here, they're ranging between 0.25% and 4.65%. There are options right now, 5 point,
I think we went to our accounting team and asked that question. The board can go outside and reinvest that money into an outside firm, but it would be something the board would have to do on their own.
So if we find a rate that's higher, but it's not something that FSR does, or I don't understand. Does
Yeah.
have a deal with these banks? I'm trying to understand.
Right. I mean, if you have a rate and you're saying, hey, we would like to invest our money into this particular bank, and it's not part of the sweep of banks that FSR has a relationship with, then our finance team wouldn't make that investment for you. They would probably assist you if you needed account information or additional guidance as to how you go about it, but they don't do the actual investment portion of that transaction.
So just to be Frank, hold on. So just to be clear, Margot, that the banks that you guys list here are banks that are affiliated with FSR. Is that what?
Well, it's just, yeah, I guess it's just their sweep of accounts and banks that they I mean, we have a lot of offices, so they have a lot of buying power, and so they feel like these offer a good variety of rates. But I think we've gone through this once before, and we asked the question about what happens if we want an account or we want to invest with Stanley Martin, for example, right? And we don't have Stanley Martin as one of our investors. The answer is yes, you can do it, but the FSR doesn't actually back that transaction. There would be more involvement with the board.
So Margaret, sorry, something's not making sense here, because if you guys have more buying power, more relationships, you should be getting us the better rates not lower rates than what
Well,
we're.
that's what they think, that they are providing really good rates. So if you found something else, we can start the process and look into it for you. That's all I can really do at this point. Oh, go ahead, Asha.
So you
I
genuinely think
found
that,
the, sorry, I'm sorry.
sorry, Asher, can I just finish this one last thing? So FSR genuinely thinks that 0.25% right now in this market is a good rate for this HOA.
Well, they're offering about 10 or 12 different opportunities for money markets and an additional 5 or 6 for CDs. There's one in here that's up to 4%. So, the lower option obviously wouldn't be something you would select, but they're
Margaret,
providing it
I don't,
because you can't have but $250,000 into the same account.
Margaret,
So
I think you're
yeah,
what I'm trying to get to is that you're saying that FSR has more buying power. You guys should be getting better rates. And what I'm not seeing that reflected in this sheet that you guys are giving us. And you're supposed to be acting in the HOA's best interest. So I expect FSR to be giving us better rates, not just rates that they
okay.
are affiliated with whatever bank. And Ashley, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So
Okay.
to answer the question, I'm sorry, Margaret, you wanted to respond?
No, go ahead.
So to answer the question that was asked previously, Clay, is it okay if I share the decision that we made back in May?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So correct. So the decision that was made for everyone on the phone was that we will go with a money market account at 4.35%. That's the rate that we have right now. I believe for the CD, I don't believe we made a decision on the CD, Margot.
Well, what we could also do is ask that the finance team do a evaluation of all your accounts and make some recommendations for changes to take advantage of the higher rates. And Maria, all I can do is forward, if you have a particular program that you're interested in, forward that information to that team and see what the options are in terms of proceeding with putting some money in that account.
And if I could chime in here, the insurance that we're about to buy for tonight, I think there's crime insurance, director's insurance. If the treasurer went out on their own and got us a great competitive rate, are we covered? God forbid. I know, you're insured up to $250 if anything did happen. Are we covered under that insurance if we went out on our own and seek
Sure.
market rate?
Sure.
So
I mean, if you gave them all the information that we would typically provide to obtain insurance premiums, I don't see why you would not be.
oh well, that's yeah. I mean, Maria, Asha, that's something we really, because this is a hidden fee by to Maria's point, by FSR. I mean, you know the money we have in reserves. This is a significant fee and something. If we're insured by this and the treasurer does it, this is something we got to certainly start considering and certainly in a new management contract, be amenable to.
Asha, did you have something else you wanted to say?
No, I just wanted to share that we did move the money and the rate is at 4.35%.
Yeah.
Thank you, Asha.
So if our, if the folks at FSR can look and see if there is a way if there are opportunities for us to be moving things into higher interest bearing accounts, that would be great.
Yeah, I can have them do a cash investment review for you.
You check also that the CD, so actually the CD that you're talking about, that was matured on June 3rd. That's the one.
I don't have all those details.
Okay.
I know that there was an email. I looked at the email exchange between Clay and I and Margot debating back and forth. And we decided to move from one account to the next. It was a choice between a CD or M&A, and we went with that because we wanted the money to be accessible to the association, and the rate was at 4.35.
All right, thank you, Asher.
Uh-huh.
I just want to go back to my point is that I'm concerned that FSR is not giving us the best options that are out there because of its affiliations with these banks.
They get a cut, Maria. It's a hidden fee.
Frank, so Ash, so Margo, when you go back to your team and they're giving you options here, just let them know that that's what one of my concern. I'm not speaking for everyone on the board, but it's just my concern. And I want to see rates that are actually competitive. If you guys say that you have a better buying power, you're bigger and you're able to get a better rates, then it should be better than what I should be able to Google right now.
Okay. All I can do is, ask the question of that team that puts together all these bank rates and puts them out to all of the different communities that they manage.
Okay, and I'm not talking about like any, random unknown bank. I'm talking about well-known banks that have the much
I mean, I guess if you've got a specific thing that you've seen that you're interested in, I'd be curious to know what that is.
I can tell you one bank off the top of my head, Santander.
What is it?
I'm just thinking of one bank, Santander, but Bank of America also offers a much higher competitive rate. And those are large banks. Like we're looking at small banks here right now.
Right. Okay. Well, I will send some emails around and see what I can find out. I believe we've talked about this before, and I got an answer from Michelle, but I don't really remember specifics about it. But I will double check it.
And to be clear, Margo, I'm not saying that I'm advocating for some Santander or Bank of America. I'm just giving those as examples that they are more well-known banks and they're giving much higher rates. If it's saying that it has that major clout, use your clout and present us with much better competitive rates than what we're seeing right now in these charts.
Okay.
Okay.
Duly noted.
All right, folks, we're coming up on time. I don't think we have any reports from any of our officers and committees. Patrick, you're not going to say anything on behalf of the landscaping committee, right? You're just visiting.
No. The walks are going on with the larger committee now, so we've got lots of community participation, and I'm doing a walk tomorrow.
Fantastic. Well, appreciation to the landscaping committee for doing all that in this weather, especially. So, great. Yeah, I mean, I think the landscaping committee is getting a bunch of, is putting together recommendations, not only for fall planting, but also for our budgeting, for next year. And I am hoping that we will be able to start discussing next year's budget, within the next, potentially by August. I want to have a meeting where we go over the budget and have opportunities for community input. So, all right. I think that concludes our business for the evening. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks very much, everybody.
And thank you for all those homeowners who attended.
Yes, thank you. Really appreciate it. All right. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.